No warning. No long goodbye. Just gone, Lou sinks into the kitchen chair, staring at nothing. Amy walks in, still confused, asking what's wrong. But Lou can't speak. Her lips move, but no sound comes out. It's Jack's voice that breaks the silence when he returns, or what's left of it. He steps inside. Dust on his boots, his eyes red but dry. He doesn't say her name. He just hangs his hat on the wall, sits down, and whispers, "She didn't make it." The house falls quiet. No one moves. No one breathes. Even the wind outside seems to stop out of respect. Amy covers her mouth, her tears coming before she can even understand the words. Lou's sobs fill the silence. And Jack, he doesn't cry. He just stares at the table, his hands shaking slightly. Like he's holding back a lifetime of pain, the camera doesn't cut away. It lingers on the empty chair where Lisa used to sit, on the untouched cup of coffee still steaming by the window, on the photo frame by the fireplace. The smallest things suddenly carry the biggest weight. At the barn, the horses grow restless, pacing, neighing softly, as if they know something sacred has been lost. Amy steps outside, looking up at the sky. The light has changed, the warm gold replaced by cold gray. A single tear slips down her cheek as she whispers, "Goodbye, Lisa." This moment, quiet, raw, and unbearably real, becomes one of the most powerful in Heartland's history. No dramatic music, no long speeches, just silence. Because sometimes, silence says everything. Lisa's death doesn't just break the characters, it breaks the ranch itself. Every field, every fence, every echo of her laughter seems to vanish. And though she's gone, her presence lingers in the way Jack looks at the empty porch, in the way Amy stares at the horizon, in the way the wind passes through the trees, carrying whispers of what once was. That's the cruel beauty of Heartland. It teaches us that love doesn't always stay, but it never really leaves either. The day after Lisa's death doesn't look much different, but it feels different. The sky still rises above Heartland, the horses still breathe, the wind still moves through the fields, but everything seems quieter now. It's as if the ranch itself is mourning. The colors have drained away. The world is still turning, but for the Bartlett-Fleming family, time has stopped. Inside the house, the silence is unbearable. Lou moves through the rooms like a ghost, straightening cushions, cleaning dishes that are already clean because it's easier than standing still. Her mind keeps replaying the last words Lisa said to her, something ordinary, something like "Take care of Jack for me." She didn't realize then that it sounded like a farewell. Now, it's all she can hear. Jack sits on the porch, the same spot where he and Lisa used to drink their morning coffee. The cup beside him stays untouched, steam curling into the cold air before fading away. He stares out at the fields, at the fence Lisa helped repair last summer, at the flowers she planted that are now starting to wilt. He's not a man who cries easily. He's seen too much, lost too much. But this loss, it's different. This isn't just heartbreak. It's hollowing. The kind that leaves a quiet ache where love used to live. Amy finds herself in the barn, brushing Spartan long after the sun has gone down. The rhythmic sound of the brush is her only comfort. She keeps expecting to see Lisa walk in, smiling, saying something soft about the weather or dinner. But every time she turns, the doorway is empty, and that emptiness feels heavier each time. Tim hides his grief behind anger. He throws himself into work, repairs fences that don't need fixing, rides out into the hills, and stays there for hours. Everyone grieves differently, and for Tim, anger feels safer than tears. He can't stand the stillness of the ranch, because it reminds him of all the moments he missed, the conversations he thought he'd have later. Now, later doesn't exist. That night, the family gathers at the dinner table, but no one eats. The plates sit untouched. The only sound is the creak of Jack's chair as he finally speaks. His voice is rough, tired, full of cracks. "Lisa wouldn't want this," he says quietly. "She'd want us to keep living." That's the thing about grief. It doesn't listen to reason. It lingers, clings. It moves through every room like a shadow you can't shake. Amy reaches out and takes his hand. Lou follows. And for a brief moment, There's connection. Fragile, but real. It's the first step toward healing, even if none of them are ready for it yet. Outside, the wind picks up, carrying dust across the fields. The horses raise their heads, sensing something in the air. Maybe it's Lisa. Maybe it's just memory. But as the night deepens, a faint light glows from the barn window. Soft, golden, peaceful, the same way Lisa's presence always felt. The ranch doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels sacred. Because even though she's gone, she hasn't really left. Her voice lingers in the wind, her touch in the wood, her love in the land. And maybe that's what Heartland has been trying to teach all along, that death can take someone from your sight, but never from your soul. Grief doesn't end when the tears stop. It lingers quiet, invisible, like dust settling after a storm. Days have passed since Lisa's death, but Heartland still feels like it's holding its breath. The air carries her memory. Every morning still begins the same way, only now it feels like something is missing. Something warm, something human. Amy finds herself walking the trails alone again. Spartan's hooves pressed softly against the dirt road Lisa once rode beside her on. There's no conversation, no laughter, echoing through the wind, just silence and the rhythm of her horse's steps. But in that silence, Amy starts to notice things she hadn't before. The way the light filters through the trees, the way the river hums softly in the distance. It's almost as if the world is whispering she's still here. Jack, on the other hand, has become quieter than ever. He sits by the fireplace at night, watching the flames dance and fade. His hat rests on the table beside him, untouched. Sometimes he talks softly, not to anyone in the room, but to Lisa. He tells her about the horses, about the weather, about Amy's progress with the new colt. It's his way of keeping her close. Because letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It just means learning to live with the echo. Lou starts spending more time with her daughters, trying to fill the spaces Lisa used to brighten. They cook together, laugh in the kitchen again. For the first time since the loss, Lou smiles. Not the kind of smile that hides pain, but the kind that accepts it. That's what healing really is. Not pretending the wound isn't there, but finding beauty in the scar. The ranch begins to feel alive again, little by little. The horses are calmer. The flowers Lisa planted by the porch begin to bloom early, almost as if nature is reaching out to remind them that life continues. Jack notices them one morning and kneels beside them, his rough hand brushing a petal. He whispers, "You always did know how to make things grow." That's the thing about Heartland. It doesn't rush grief. It doesn't try to fix what can't be fixed. Instead, it shows us how to live with it, how to take pain and turn it into purpose. Amy starts helping a new horse, one that's skittish, nervous, afraid of touch. And as she works with it, she realizes she's healing herself too. Every gentle word, every patient moment becomes a step toward peace. Lisa may be gone, but her spirit has woven itself into the land, into the soil, the sky, the people she loved. You can feel her in the quiet mornings and the laughter that returns to the house, the strength the family finds to keep going. Heartland has always been about healing, about second chances. And maybe this loss was never about breaking them. Maybe it was about reminding them that love never dies. It just changes form. The ones we lose don't disappear. They live on through the choices we make, the kindness we give, the love we keep. And as the sun sets over the ranch, painting the fields gold once more, Amy looks toward the sky and whispers softly, "Thank you for staying with us." When the credits rolled on episode 4, there was no music loud enough to fill the silence that followed. Fans everywhere sat frozen, eyes wide, hearts heavy, trying to process what they had just seen. Some cried quietly. Others replayed the final scene again and again, hoping they had misunderstood. But there it was, the truth they didn't want to believe. Lisa gone. Social media became a sea of heartbreak that night. Posts filled with candle emojis, broken hearts, and lines like she was the soul of Heartland. Fans from around the world shared memories of her most touching moments, her laughter with Jack, Her gentle wisdom with Amy, her calm presence that always made the ranch feel safe. One fan wrote, "Heartland won't be the same without her, but maybe that's the point." Love leaves a mark. That's how we know it's real. Clips began circulating, Lisa smiling in the kitchen, dancing with Jack under the barn lights, comforting Amy after Ty's death. Those scenes, once warm and familiar, now feel sacred. They carry a different kind of power now, the kind that only loss can give. Fans didn't just lose a character, they lost a piece of Heartland's soul. But amid all the sadness, something beautiful began to happen. People started talking about love, about memory, about cherishing those who are still here. Heartland didn't just show us death. It reminded us what it means to live. It reminded us that goodbyes are never really the end. They're bridges between hearts that will meet again someday. The writers didn't give us a dramatic ending for Lisa. They gave us something quieter, more human. A goodbye that mirrors real life, sudden, imperfect. It was supposed to be another quiet morning at Heartland. The horses were calm, the sky was clear, and everything felt safe, but within minutes, that peace was shattered forever. One moment changed everything, and no one, not even the strongest hearts at Heartland, was ready for it. This wasn't just a loss. It was the loss that will echo through every corner of the ranch. There's something special about mornings at Heartland. The soft wind that carries the scent of hay, the sound of horses brushing against the wooden fences, and the golden sunlight spilling across the fields. It's the kind of peace that makes you believe nothing bad could ever happen here. For years, this ranch has been a place of healing, of second chances, a home built not just from wood and stone, but from love, trust, and family. In season 19, that sense of peace has been fragile. Amy has been trying to find her strength again, balancing motherhood, the ranch, and the legacy her late husband left behind. Jack, the heart and soul of Heartland, has carried the weight of everyone's pain in silence. Lou, always the leader, has tried to keep everyone together, even when her own heart is cracking. Yet, despite all their struggles, there was still hope. The kind of quiet hope that only Heartland can give. Episode 4 begins like any other. The sun rises over the mountains, lights spilling across the barn as Amy leads Spartan out for a morning ride. The camera lingers on her smile, tired but warm. It's a reminder of how far she's come. There's laughter in the kitchen, the smell of fresh coffee, and for a moment, you feel like everything is okay again. Like maybe, after all the heartbreak. The Bartlett-Fleming family has finally found their rhythm. But in Heartland, peace never lasts forever. Just when life feels steady, something always stirs beneath the surface, a shadow waiting to fall across the light. And in this episode, that shadow comes quietly. No warnings. No thunder in the distance. Just a slow build of unease that you can't quite name until it's too late. The first half of the episode feels like a gentle reminder of what Heartland stands for: love, family, and resilience. The camera captures soft glances between characters, small smiles that speak louder than words. You can feel that something important is coming, though you don't know what yet. It's the calm before the storm, and every scene feels a little too perfect, a little too still, as if the show itself is holding its breath. And then, it happens. A phone call, a sound in the distance, a shift in the air, the kind of moment where time seems to stop, the moment that breaks the calm and changes everything. This is how episode 4 begins. Not with chaos, but with silence. The silence that comes before heartbreak. Before we dive into the heartbreak of episode 4, we need to step back to the moments that led here, to the quiet signs we all missed. Heartland has always been more than just a show about horses. It's a story about people trying to hold on when life keeps pulling them apart. And in the last few episodes, that struggle has been written all over their faces. Amy has been standing at a crossroads. She's still the strong, gentle soul we've always known, the girl who could heal any horse and calm any storm. But lately, her strength has felt heavier. Every time she looks at Spartan, it's like she's looking at her past. A past filled with love, loss, and promises that still whisper through the barn walls. She's trying to move forward, But you can see it, that quiet ache that never really goes away. Jack, the heart of Heartland, has been fighting his own battles. He's the kind of man who hides his pain behind old jokes and long silences. But this season, those silences feel longer. The sparkle in his eyes dimmer. He's seen too many goodbyes, carried too many ghosts. And though he'll never say it out loud, there's a fear sitting heavy in his chest, the fear of losing one more person he loves. Then there's Lou, always trying to do what's right, to lead, to keep everyone safe. But leadership comes at a cost. She's been torn between her duties at the ranch and her life in the city, between family and her own happiness. You can see the cracks forming, small at first, like hairline fractures in glass. She wants to be strong, but even the strongest hearts can break. They're stretched too thin. And let's not forget the ranch itself. Heartland is alive in its own way. Every wooden beam, every creak of the barn, every flicker of the kitchen lights tells a story. But lately, the ranch has felt different. The air's been heavier, quieter. Even the horses seem to sense something coming, something they can't understand but feel. Deep in their bones, in the closing moments of episode 3, there was a small scene, one that most might have brushed off. Jack stood on the porch, watching the sun dip behind the hills. He said nothing, just sighed and looked up at the sky. It was a simple shot, but it lingered longer than usual. Maybe it was foreshadowing. Maybe it was goodbye now, as episode 4 begins. All those moments come rushing back. Every silence, every distant look, every small goodbye we didn't realize was a farewell. That's the beauty and the pain of Heartland. It never tells you when the heartbreak is coming. It just lets you feel it slowly until it's too late. Because in this world, loss doesn't always arrive with a storm. Sometimes it comes with a whisper, a breath of wind across the fields, quiet door closing behind someone who will never return. And that whisper is where episode 4 begins to break our hearts. It begins softly, too softly. The kind of mourning that looks harmless, almost sacred. The sun paints the ranch in warm gold, and for a few seconds, it feels like the world is breathing peacefully again. The frost on the fence glistens, the horses stir quietly, and the air smells like dew and pine. Everything at Heartland feels still. But the stillness, it's hiding something. Amy steps out of the barn, her hair tied back, her boots crunching against the gravel. Spartan waits for her, calm as ever. She smiles, that small, tired smile that fans know too well, the one she wears when she's pretending everything is fine. She strokes Spartan's mane and whispers something we can't hear. The camera lingers there for just a heartbeat longer than usual. And that's when you feel it, a shift in the air. Something faint and cold brushing past. Inside the house, Lou is already up. The coffee pot hums softly. Jack sits at the kitchen table, staring at his old mug, the one with a faded cowboy hat printed on it. His eyes are distant. Lou tries to make small talk, something about the town meeting or the new horse feed delivery. But Jack doesn't respond right away. He's somewhere else, lost in thought. Maybe remembering someone, maybe sensing what's coming. Then, as if waking from a dream, he nods, forces a smile. The moment passes. Across the yard, Tim's truck pulls in, dust rising behind him. He's loud, full of energy, teasing Jack like old times. He doesn't notice Amy watching from a distance, her expression unreadable. The audience knows what she's thinking, how fast things can change. How one moment you're laughing in the yard and the next, the world tilts. The first act of episode 4 feels almost gentle. Too gentle. The writers knew what they were doing. Every shot, every word feels like a goodbye wrapped in routine. There's laughter, but it's thin. There's sunlight, but it doesn't feel warm. The ranch looks alive, yet something about it feels hollow. As if Heartland itself knows it's about to lose a piece of its soul. Then there's that sound, faint at first, easy to miss. A phone ringing inside the house. Lou answers. Her voice is steady, then cracks just slightly. The color drains from her face. She whispers something, the kind of whisper that doesn't need words for the audience to understand. Jack looks up. Amy freezes mid-step. The air stops moving. The birds outside go silent. The screen doesn't rush. It stays still, holding the tension, like a breath no one wants to release. Then, Jack's chair scrapes the floor as he stands. Amy drops the brush in her hand. Lou's eyes fill, and that's when it hits. The calm wasn't peace at all. It was a lie. Heartland's mornings have always brought light, but not this one. This morning carries something darker, the weight of an ending that no one saw coming. And just like that, storm begins to gather. It happens so suddenly that for a moment no one even realizes what's happening. The world doesn't announce tragedy. It doesn't roar or warn. Sometimes it just happens quietly, like the light fading behind a cloud. The phone call that Lou answered still echoes in her ears. Her hand trembles, her voice barely holding together as she calls for Jack. There's something in her tone, something heavy, something final. Jack doesn't ask questions. He doesn't need to. He's lived long enough to recognize the sound of heartbreak before it's spoken. He takes his hat, grabs his coat, and walks out the door without a word. Amy stands frozen by the barn. She doesn't know yet, but she feels it. The air changes still, sharp, like winter suddenly arriving in the middle of spring. Spartan stomps his hooves nervously, sensing her fear. She whispers to calm him, but her voice shakes. She looks toward the road just as Jack's truck disappears into the distance. Dust rising behind it like smoke. Minutes later, the truth hits, and it hits hard. The call was about Lisa, the woman who had been Jack's calm in every storm. The heart who had always kept the ranch grounded when everything else fell apart. She was gone, no warning, no long goodbye. Just gone. Lou sinks into the kitchen chair, staring at nothing. Amy walks in, still confused, asking what's wrong. But Lou can't speak. Her lips move, but no sound comes out. It's Jack's voice that breaks the silence.